So, starting off, House of Spoils blends psychological horror with an intense world of the culinary arts. So, talk to me about what you did to prepare to play the role of chef.
Yeah, I love that you use the word blend. It is a blend of beautiful things. Um, I'm a very visual learner, so I combed the internet for videos of the environment of what it is to work in a kitchen because I really wanted to try and see something that was not, the bare, because that's very curated, if that makes sense. Big fan of the show, by the way. But I also watched a lot of documentaries, read a lot of interviews, specifically from like female perspective that I could find. And I took a kind of a crash course because I will be transparent in saying there wasn't as much time to prepare for this role as I would have liked. But I took a crash course of kitchen skills with Chef Aisha down at Chouquette. It's in Chelsea here in New York City. And she put me through my paces. Whoo, my feet, my hands have never, my lower back have never hurt so badly. Um, and that's coming from someone who danced very hard for a decade. I was both inspired and absolutely terrified by that experience and filled with respect. And so when I got to Budapest to make the film, I trained every day. I continued my training and kept sharpening my knife skills because it's kind of like you use it or lose it. And even if you're kind of a chef in your personal life, it's very different. Those are not the same things, right? So I wanted to just try and be as prepared as I could be.
So, Chef is obviously someone who's both haunted by forces and her own struggle. And the film dives into themes of ambition, self-doubt, and fear. Were
Mhm.
there moments in the film that you personally connected to regarding success and the pressure of it?
Of course, I mean, my own personal journey, this movie came to me right after A Beautiful Moment in the Sun with West Side Story, and I felt a lot of pressure after the fact because I was like, "Oh my gosh, I have these, titles next to my name now, Academy Award winner Ariana DeBose." I'm like, "Oh God, what if I'm a fraud? And what if I'm not good at anything but work that requires me to sing and dance?" So, and I am a naturally ambitious person, um, competitive with myself to try and be better than I was the day before. But I do think that there are moments where ambition can get the better of you and you can bite off more than you can chew. And being woman enough to like call it if you need to, or can you find a solution? So there, I definitely identified with that element of chef's experience. And I think a lot of women can identify with that as well.
So one of the elements, and you alluded to it, is the isolation that we find in the film. So can you talk a little about how that moment sort of set off the tension for the film and pushed the character in some ways?
Mm. Sorry, you cut out a little bit, so I just want to make sure I heard the question.
I said, the film is set in an isolated area. How did that shape and push the character through this journey?
Oh, yes, yes. Oh my goodness. So the film really does take place in one space in upstate New York, which actually was Budapest, Hungary, just for your records. Um, but I do think the isolation that this person is experiencing, it lends itself to the journey that she's on because when you are trying to start a restaurant, you're one person. Like, and as a chef, you are the top dog. Everything falls or like rises with you. And I think isolation is part of an ambitious person's journey. At least that has been my experience in one way or another. Not the entirety of the journey, but there are real moments where you have to do part of it alone. No one can walk you through that. There is not a handbook. There is not a how-to guide. You have to make decisions and choices based off of your own wants, needs, and ideas. And that's really hard. So I think it adds to the scariness because I find it very scary.